All right, guys, in today's video, we have some very interesting news to go over and discuss, starting with an update on some big PlayStation 5 exclusives, such as Gran Turismo 7 and Project Athia. I know you guys are eager to get any more information about upcoming PS5 exclusives, so we're going to be talking about that. We're also talking about The Initiative, Microsoft's quadruple A studio, and how there is a rumor that has come out about what exactly they're working on and how it might not necessarily meet everybody's expectations, which I find incredibly interesting. We talked a little bit about this during the podcast, but I do think it's worth noting here separately in a video. And finally, we're talking a little bit about Days Gone, believe it or not, because it was trending yesterday on Twitter for some very interesting reasoning. It has to do with CyberPunk 2077, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that towards the end of the video. So if you could do me a favor before we go any further, make sure you hit that like button to help it out. Really helps it out more than you know. Hit the subscribe button if you're new and hit the bell notification icon as well. But starting here with some updates on PlayStation 5 exclusives. Sony just released a new and upcoming games trailer, and it contains a few interesting pieces of information. Chief amongst that is that Gran Turismo 7 will in fact be a PlayStation 5 only exclusive and will not be coming to PlayStation 4. And there are also some notes within this trailer that talk about other exclusivity periods when it comes to timed exclusive games. Gran Turismo 7 was revealed, for the PlayStation 5 back in June, but there's really no mention of a PS5 version. And so in this trailer, they specifically note which games are actually cross-gen and will be coming to PS4 and which games will not. So we have Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart that was featured in this trailer. That is and has been officially confirmed to be PlayStation 5 only. Now we have the confirmation that Gran Turismo 7 is also a PlayStation 5 only exclusive. This is actually very good news because Jim Ryan has been talking recently about them supporting the PlayStation 4 and them doing some cross-gen games. And so this made a lot of people worried that the PlayStation 5 is not going to really be getting any PS5 only exclusive games going forward, and that's just not true. In fact, we have two of them. It really just seems to me that in the early days of the PS5, the games that have the potential to sell the most, although I don't know if that's necessarily true because Gran Turismo 7 is probably going to sell really well, but I don't know. It just seems like Sony's kind of picking and choosing here. So that's good news for GT7, but it also confirmed that both Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo are console exclusive for 1 year. And interestingly, Project Athia is going to be exclusive for 2 years before it's actually going to appear on any other console, that being Xbox. So I think that's interesting. We don't really have any more information about Project Athia other than that, but finding out that it is a 2-year exclusive, that's a pretty big deal. I don't really know that it's going to matter too much by the time it comes to Xbox, 2 years later. But it also confirmed once again that Horizon Forbidden West is cross-gen. Ratchet & Clank and Destruction All-Stars will both be arriving in 2021, and they're both PS5 only. It also is worth mentioning here that one of the things we discovered with this latest trailer is that apparently Gran Turismo 7 may be coming later in 2021. If you recall, there was a New Worlds to Explore trailer where it said that GT7 would be releasing in early 2021. Or like the first half of 2021. Now it just says that it's in development for PlayStation while also confirming it's a PS5 only title. So it seems likely that GT7 is going to be coming maybe sometime after June, which I think is okay. I think it's going to be a big game and a lot of people are going to be excited for it. But I think that's one of those titles where it doesn't really matter if it releases in the first half of 2021 or the second half. People are going to be there for it when it drops. So yeah, I just wanted to keep you guys updated with some of these PS5 exclusives because, we're always eager to get more information on them. But moving on from that and talking about The Initiative, Microsoft's, quote, quadruple A studio. I think that is a term they coined themselves. I think we can all agree that the general expectation for this studio is something massive, something huge. We've been hearing it for some time now. We've been hearing all of the talent that they're hiring. And I think that a lot of people are viewing a studio like The Initiative as Microsoft's first real attempt to create a game or games that are really going to compete with a lot of the big blockbuster AAA titles that Sony has been releasing for many years now, to compete with games like God of War, The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Days Gone, Horizon, so on and so forth. I think that's the general expectation here, and it is something that I've actually been looking forward to. But we have an update here, or a rumor. So it says, during the most recent episode of the Xbox Era podcast, the hosts discuss what they've heard about the initiative. And according to them, their first big project is actually episodic. They specifically compare it to the Netflix series Black Mirror, and that there will likely be multiple standalone games/stories that will exist within a loosely connected universe. So here's what the insider Nick Baker, aka Special Ed, had to say on the subject. So he said, all those episodes of Black Mirror are linked to each other. They take place within the same universe. When I talked about the initiative's game, I'm not saying it's exactly like Black Mirror, but it has that Black Mirror-like aspect to it. It's just stuff that we're hearing. I know the word episodic has been thrown around. Later in the conversation, and this is where it gets very interesting, the Xbox Era hosts play down the expectations that the initiative is working on a Sony-style blockbuster in the vein of God of War or The Last of Us, and express some worry about how some fans will react when their project is finally revealed. So he said, I don't think the internet is going to react very well to it. This is going to be bad. A level of bad where people give up on Xbox game studios. Fanboys are going to get really upset and throw out their Xboxes and stuff. So it goes on to say here, that does not sound good. You have to wonder how these latest rumors might jive with the previous ones, that the initiative is working on a new third-person Perfect Dark game. So yeah, that is one of the rumors we heard, and it seems likely that's what it is. But guys, I have to tell you, this is highly concerning. I know that people assume, because I'm so hard on Xbox and I'm so, I'm just so opinionated on the direction that Xbox has been going in. People assume that I want to see them fail, that I'm not excited for anything they have in development. That's just simply not the case. There are, in fact, believe it or not, I know it's a shocker, some games that are in development over there at Microsoft that I am looking forward to. But the initiative is a studio that, honestly, I've been very excited and eager to learn about what it is they're going to be doing, because the idea that Microsoft is finally going to reveal a game from one of their studios that's going to compete in a really big way with a lot of these massive games that Sony has been, releasing over the years now, that had me excited, because that's exactly what I was hoping to see from Microsoft, especially going into this current or next generation, whatever you want to call it. And these rumors are genuinely concerning. Now, as to whether or not they are credible, I can't speak to that. I don't listen to this podcast. I don't know the track record of these individuals, but they are speaking as if they are talking to individuals who would know. And I do find it interesting, because what's most interesting about this rumor and what's most telling about it is, whether you believe them or not, these are clearly big Xbox fans. I mean, it's called the Xbox Era podcast, and they're out here basically saying, you guys need to recheck your expectations or refresh your expectations. And they're saying that it's going to be bad when the game's revealed. Now, that is just crazy to me, because if you're a big Xbox fan, if you're going to make up a rumor that's not true and it's not information that comes off as legitimate, you're going to say good things about it, right? And in this case, the most telling thing is that they're not saying something good about it. In fact, they're saying people are probably going to have like a meltdown over this, and they need to prepare themselves. That tells me that there might be some truth to this, because the idea that Xbox fans are trying to, talk negatively, make up negative rumors, unless it's some kind of reverse psychology type thing they're doing here to throw people off, make people expect something bad, but it's actually going to be something good. I don't know. That's getting a little too deep into it, but I had to talk about this because, guys, I think there's a very good chance, and we will talk more about this in a separate video, I think there's a very good chance that we could see the initiative's game revealed at the Game Awards. And if this is true, that it's going to be episodic, I don't know, man. That really, in my opinion, does go against what the general expectation is. Not saying that means it's automatically going to be bad. That's not necessarily the case, but still, I don't think that that's what people want to hear. And for a fact that Game Pass has a big part in this. So I will be interested to see what you guys have to say about this in the comments. But to finish this video off, we're talking about Days Gone trending on Twitter. And so I came across this interesting article. It says Days Gone is trending on Twitter because of CyberPunk 2077. All of the things we expected to see on social media following the initial release of CyberPunk 2077's reviews, Days Gone trending on Twitter is not one of them. But the apocalyptic Sony Bend open worlder is the subject of much discussion today, as some fans take issue with how harshly the title was treated in comparison to CD Projekt Red's futuristic RPG. The conversation revolves around various permutations of a common theme. Deacon St. John's debut was initially panned for its technical shortcomings, where Cyberpunk 2077 currently commands a Metacritic rating of 91, despite reviewers experiencing some pretty severe bugs and glitches throughout the course of their playthroughs. So what gives? Well, no game is reviewed in a bubble, and while you reserve the right to disagree, it may just be that reviewers think Cyberpunk 2077 is a better overall game than Days Gone. Others may have found the bugs in Sony Bend's game more disruptive than CD Projekt Red's, and you've got to remember it's often different reviewers critiquing different games, even if they do write for the same publication. There is a discussion to be had here, but we're cautious of it following a darker path, as we know sometimes reviewers can be attacked for sharing an opinion. And so, I'm not going to speak too much about this because I think most of you, especially those of you who've been following me for some time, you know what my thoughts are on Days Gone and the way that it was reviewed. I think it's an underrated game, honestly. I know that it released with a lot of bugs, and I do agree with this. I do agree that it just seems like, when you're talking about bugs, when you're talking about glitches specifically, these are things that inherently will get in the way of your experience. They can be funny, and they can, as weird as it sounds, enhance the experience by adding like just this comedic factor to it. But more often than not, bugs and glitches just get in the way and hinder your experience. And it is interesting, if you do go read a lot of the reviews, even the 10 out of 10 reviews, that's the interesting thing here, is a lot of these games are reviewers are giving 10 out of 10s, but also saying like the bugs are really bad. Like there's a lot of them. In fact, there are some reviewers who have even said that Cyberpunk 2077 can be unplayable at times. And it seems likely it's going to get a day one patch. It's probably not going to fix all of the bugs, but that's the same situation we saw with Days Gone, where Days Gone apparently was reviewed before it got that day one patch, and there were a ton of bugs for a lot of reviewers, and they took points off because of that, and for other reasons as well. And as it says here, it could just be that reviewers just think that Cyberpunk is just a better playing game, and I can kind of see that. I mean, I love Days Gone, but I don't think Days Gone is like a 10 out of 10 game. I'm just being honest. It has its shortcomings, and I can also understand why some people are like, it's just not very original. I get that, but it's still a great game, and I still think it did not get a fair shake. And I guess all I'm saying is that, yeah, we should keep the same energy here, honestly, where if we're gonna see Days Gone kind of get torn to shreds when it releases, or from the reviewers because of bugs, and that's like one of the biggest reasons they take points off, we need to see that same thing, just, objectively speaking here, just being fair, happen to a game like Cyberpunk. Because even though Cyberpunk, after, if it does get a bunch of patches and all these bugs are fixed, still the state of the game that they're getting right now, reviewers that is, I mean, come on, it's not fair to Days Gone. It's really not. So I don't know. It is what it is. It's true. Different reviewers critiquing for the same publication. What are you gonna do? But I love Days Gone. I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk. I think Cyberpunk's gonna be great. I think Days Gone is a great game. So that does it for this video. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Leave it a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.